I've spent almost the last month here in Mexico City getting ready for our sold-out live conference over in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, just in a matter of days. And I've always loved Mexico City. This is a city that I believe a lot of people should consider as a base, as a place to spend time, as a place to live. And today I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why I have always loved Mexico City. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. I'm the author of this book, and I'm the founder of Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. Everything from lower taxes to finding great emerging hotspots around the world, the places that other people aren't talking about. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. So, why do I love Mexico City? If you've been here, if you have lived here, leave a comment below. I want to hear what you think about Mexico City and Mexico in general. But the number one thing for me is just the vibrance. You walk around, you can't help but feel happy. You can't help but feel cheerful. You've got colorful buildings. You've got interesting architecture. It's not as uniform as a place like Bogota with all the brick. You've got different neighborhoods. You've got great weather. You've got colors. It's just a great place to be. And whether you're here in December, it does get a little chilly. You're here in the spring, it's really getting pleasant, a little bit of a crisp at night. Went for a walk last night around midnight. You're here in the summer, it's just beautiful. It's a great year-round place to be. And you walk around the neighborhoods. You walk around, luxurious Polanco. You walk around Roma Norte. You walk around Condesa, Cuauhtemoc. You go so many places, and you just can't help. Every neighborhood has its own great vibe. Beautiful old houses, whether it's in Polanco or if you go down to Roma. You'll see some just gorgeous old architecture. It really is inspiring. And quite frankly, a lot of things people say they like about Paris, for example, the weather people say they like about tropical places. It's not quite tropical here, but you can get a lot of those things and you can really feel great, in my opinion, with all the vibrance here. Number 2 is the people. If you're from the West, you probably like a bit more of a Western perspective, Western personality. And so coming from the United States, adapting to Mexico is really not that difficult. You've got great people who are very friendly. I guess Mexico City, like any capital city, is not going to have the friendliest people, or like any main city, right? So you go to New York, if you're not from New York, people seem a little brusque at first, right? Until you get to know them. Mexico City, probably the same kind of thing. So they're not going to have the friendliest people in Mexico, but still, pretty friendly. It's funny when you come to Mexico or you come to Colombia and you watch arguments between people who are from, the capital, Mexico City, Bogota, versus people from smaller towns. The people from smaller towns always say, "Oh, they're so unfriendly in the big city." And from my perspective, traveling all around the world, in a place like Mexico City, it's still pretty friendly. People are very helpful. There's an eagerness to help. It's just, again, it's vibrant. People are out. There's things happening. You go out at 4:30 in the morning in some neighborhoods. People are cleaning the floors and they're getting their food trucks ready. Just stuff is happening, and the people really are spectacular. And actually, if you look at on the opposite side of things from food trucks, you look at the service at a place like a luxury shopping street. In a lot of countries, you go to Paris, for example. You go to the Champs-Élysées. You go to some of the shops that are off of that. People can be pretty grouchy, quite frankly. I've had some pretty unpleasant experiences. You come to those same shops here, some of the best service in the world. So from food trucks to Gucci, really nice people. What I also love, number 3, is the comfortable feel. So again, I come from the United States. I've traveled all around the world. I've made homes in Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia and other parts of Latin America. If you're coming from the US or Canada in particular, or somewhere where you like that more Western, American in the sense of North American perspective, Mexico to me is really hard to beat. And I think it's a great place for an American or a Canadian to start out. It's a great soft landing because you can come here. First of all, you've got a lot of the brands that you might be used to. Right? So of course there's Starbucks and that kind of thing everywhere, but you've got a lot of the restaurant chains. A couple years ago on Christmas Eve, had a lovely meal. We wanted to take a break from Mexican food. Had my family come in, had a lovely meal at the Capitol Grill. Amazing service, great food. Same kind of experience you'd have in the U.S., right? So you get all the stuff that's great about Mexico. But if you want to go back to some of those, American or Canadian brands, you can do that. The language, less of a barrier here. In particular Mexico City than you'll find in other parts of Latin America. So, in Bogota, I find myself using more Spanish. In Mexico City, plenty of areas where you can adapt with decent English, really great restaurants, really great shops. even in some of the places that are not so luxurious, you've got decent English. I'm not saying that you're just going to go around Mexico City speaking English, but you at least have some people that can understand you, and you've got places that you can go. I think what it's worth accepting is if you're from a country where you're used to speaking English, and perhaps you're living my trifecta method, and you're living in places with 3 different languages, you may not become as fluent in Spanish. Or even if you are, you want to have those conversations in English. I mean, for me, what I sometimes miss is you want to make a joke with the waiter. You want to interact with people in ways that even if you have a decent command of the language, it's hard to pick up on those local subtleties. You might be good at Spanish in Colombia, but then you bring it to Mexico and the subtleties are different. And so I like the fact that it is very similar to that background. Very international compared to many places in Latin America. Again, not only do you have American chain restaurants and stuff like that, but you've got really everything you could want. And I think that's often lacking in many places around the world where you want to go and have halfway decent sushi in Mexico, you can. You want to go and shop for all kinds of things, you can. And of course, you've got so many different regions of Mexico, which I love. And a lot of that comes to Mexico City. You can just go and try foods from Veracruz or Oaxaca or Yucatan. You can meet people from those regions. You can see their culture. It's a beautiful melting pot in a sense. But really, the international feel is really very comfortable here. What I also love about Mexico City is accessibility. And I've talked about this, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, for example, where I love the fact it is an airline hub. You can go pretty much anywhere you want in Asia, really a lot of places that you want in the world. Mexico City has largely the same thing. It is, of course, the most significant city in Latin America in terms of size. If you want to go back to the US or Canada, there's easy connectivity there for the aforementioned reasons. You can get around Latin America all over the place. But what I also love is the idea of Mexico City as a central hub to say, if I want to go somewhere every single weekend, I can go and I can experience all the diversity of Mexico whenever I want. I can take a flight nonstop to Cancun, go to Playa del Carmen, go to Tulum. I can take a flight to Oaxaca and have food, or I can go to Chiapas. I can go to the north. I mean, there's so many places you can go, and it's all one hop away. And it's a great starting off point. You've got places you can drive to. You've got Puebla. You've got San Miguel de Allende. You've got a lot of expat hubs that are around Mexico City, a couple hours drive. And so for me, being a stone's throw from if I need to do business and I need to get on a flight to, somewhere far flung, or if I just want to explore the country, I think Mexico as a whole is a great place to spend some time because, you're not going to have that thing that people sometimes tell me they don't like. I don't want to live in Singapore because, what do you do after a while? Well, what do? You do the same things pretty much every day everywhere. But at least here in Mexico, you have the feeling where if I want beach, if I want mountains, if I want jungle, if I want any kind of different experience, I can get that domestically, which is a benefit. Going through passport control, especially these days, can be difficult. And so, that's been good. And especially, during the last year, Mexico City has been, at least while I'm here, relatively open, and I've heard some great stories. What I also love is the openness. Just the openness of the people in terms of, as I mentioned, great service, really attentive service. Again, coming from the U.S. Here's one thing I'll tell you: if you're coming from the U.S. and you're going to go overseas and you're expecting waitress service, where the woman at Denny's is going to come over and lean on the booth and say, "What can I get you, hon?" And she's going to check in. "Can I top off your orange juice, hon? What do you want?" Or if they're going to, "Hey, do you want like a Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity, raspberry lemonade to start off?" You're going to go to a lot of countries and they're going to say, they're just going to stand and look at you. What do you want? Why haven't you ordered? I'm not complaining. In fact, I think there's a niceness in directness. But I think it's also nice to come back and say, I'm going to have that service vibe that I really love, where people really work hard. I remember when I came here in 2019, we landed at 2:30 in the morning. We got in, we dropped our bags. We started walking around at like 4:30 in the morning. It's dark. And it's so vibrant. People are out working. I love that culture of just people are doing things. People are getting stuff done. Places seem open for business. Businesses want your business. I think this is a great soft landing city. I know not everyone likes cities. What I really love about Mexico City, by the way, is all the different neighborhoods you can go around to. And so even in a Kuala Lumpur, there's a couple different neighborhoods. You can't really walk between them as easily. You're not going to necessarily walk from KLCC to Bongsar. You're certainly not going to walk to Mont Kiara. And so here, you just walk from one neighborhood to the next. Each one has its vibe. One's more luxurious. One's that beautiful, gritty city center, bustling with life. One is more old school. I love those different vibes. And it's so open. And when you go places, people are open for business. So anyway, I think it's a great place to start out if you can tolerate the big city. Now, you can stay within your own little neighborhood, and if you stay in Polanco, it doesn't seem nearly as bustling. In the same way, if you go to Bogota and you stay in La Cabrera or Rosales, it doesn't seem nearly as bustling as other neighborhoods might. You won't get the feel you're in a city, with 20 plus million people just staying in Polanco. But you have the flexibility to move out. And I think that for all these reasons, it's a great place, especially for folks from that Western background, to start. I've talked about, for Americans, the Great American Plan B. You can watch that episode where I talk about why having Mexican residents could be a valuable thing. We've been helping people do that. And Mexico City, really, if I had to put it on the list, one of the top 3 cities in the world, probably, in terms of not only visiting, but in terms of the ability to live there on a longer term. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.